wish there was more snow right now. Hey guys, I'm the Elven Archer, and today I have a little something I have to confess, which is that I am a bad photographer. This is not hyperbole, nor am I trying to make a joke. The proof, as they say, is in the pudding. I've taken shots like this, like this, like this, and this. And today I want to share with you the 5 things that make me such a bad photographer, in the hope that you can learn from them and be a little bit better than me. So number 1 is not paying attention to the information that you are given. You pay $600, $1,000, $2,000 for a DSLR for one reason, and that's control. You want control over your image. You want to be able to have absolute control over what the end product looks like. So a thing I'll do is I'll just snap away without looking and checking, what my ISO, what my aperture is, not even looking at those things or bothering to take into account how they're going to change the image. Another thing is the histogram. The histogram is this super handy little box that shows up in the corner of your screen. That shows how light or dark the image is, so you can tell if it's super bright and blasted out, or if it's way too dark, or if it's in that kind of sweet spot right in the middle. Now the histogram is also super helpful if you're shooting in really bright or really dark, because in those times, the image on your LCD screen is not what the image is going to be in real life. For example, this picture that I took on top of Haleakala Crater in Hawaii. I thought that this one was just way too bright, way too blown out, and so I took another one, and that was this. When I got home, I realized, hey, the only reason this looked too bright was because my LCD screen was really bright and it was pitch black outside. So actually, this is the one that's too dark, even though it looked fine on my camera, in the pitch black darkness on top of Haleakala Crater.
You guys see anything? No, because it's a pitch black sky. Well, let's try something.
And this is the one that looked a little bit better. That's a super handy tool, and literally all you have to do is click one button to bring it up. So not paying attention to the information you're given is the number 1 reason why I'm a bad photographer. Now, the second reason is sort of 2 reasons, but they ultimately mean the same thing. 1 is not checking the image after I've taken it, and 2 is trusting the image that the eyepiece sees. And when you look through the eyepiece, you're not seeing any of your settings, so you have basically no idea what it's going to look like. So not taking the time to literally just snap a picture, take the camera away from my face, and look at the LCD screen really hurts me. And that's how I end up with shots like this that are just completely blown out. I'll set up my settings to shoot something in shadow, I'll shoot that, and then I'll just immediately turn around and shoot something in the light. And so obviously, the thing I shoot in the light is completely blasted out. And had I just taken the camera away from my face for 1 second to look at the screen, I would have known that and been able to reshoot. So you can use the eyepiece, absolutely, but always make sure to check your histogram, check the LCD screen, and make sure your image isn't just completely blasted out or too dark before you move on to the next shot. When did my Christmas lights stop working? I'm trying to be festive, damn it. There we go. Not that it makes almost any difference on camera, but they look kind of pretty. Now, the next thing kind of comes down to just being lazy, and that's trusting your automatic settings to give you a good image. They won't. And this goes back to the beginning when I said you buy an expensive camera for control over your image. Now, when you're shooting with a little point and shoot or a phone, you might have some ISO settings, but you're almost definitely not going to have any shutter speed settings or any aperture settings. And you paid $600, $1,000, however much for your camera, specifically to have that control over the image. And if you don't care enough to mess with manual settings and you're just going to leave your nice camera on automatic, just get yourself a point and shoot. It's going to take your same travel pictures and you're going to save a lot of money. So trusting those automatic settings to give you a good image is just not going to happen. The one time it is useful is if you really just can't get it right, you can switch into automatic settings, get yourself an idea of what your ISO, your aperture should be, and go back to manual and tweak those a little bit to make it right. Number 4, not grabbing focus. Oh my God, I cannot tell you the number of pictures I have taken and just chosen not to grab focus on my subject, which is stupid because it's absurdly easy to do so. You literally just click this button, it zooms in, you focus, you zoom back out, and then your subject is perfectly in focus and you don't miss by a few feet or something. You have this focus wheel right here, which you can use to focus the camera on anything you want. So it's ultimately always better to use that manual focus, grab focus on your subject, and then take your picture. Now the final reason that I'm a bad photographer is that a lot of the time I just don't take the time to make the image better. And that can include all the things I just talked about, grabbing focus, not trusting my automatic settings, all of those things, but also maybe just moving a little bit to make the image better. Maybe instead of having a completely flat image, you move a little bit so you have some foreground elements, really adding depth to the image, or just even taking time to reshoot pictures over and over and over until you're happy with it. Taking your time to make your image perfect is ultimately going to be your best friend here. Again, you bought this camera to have control over your image, so take the time to use that control to get the best image possible. So maybe now that you've heard all this, you're thinking, I don't want to mess with that. I don't want to mess with all these settings. There's just so much here I don't need because I'll never use it. And in that case, it is totally fine to get a cheap point and shoot or shoot with your cell phone, no matter what you hear photography snobs say. Your phone, not this phone, but probably your phone, is going to take great pictures. And if you just want to have some pictures to remember your trip to New Guinea, then maybe just use your cell phone. But if you do want to take the time to make your images just that little, actually it's a lot better, take these tips that I've given you today and be a better photographer than me. Now that we have that through, I hope you guys had a great Christmas. I hope you're heading into a wonderful New Year, because that is all I have for you today, guys. Archer out.